keep from singing? What though the tempest coming more? I hear the truth, is living. What though the darkness coming close? Sounds in the night, it's giving. No storm can shake my inmost calm. What to that rock I'm clinging? Since I believe that love abides. How can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble when they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? In prison cell, in dungeon dark, our thoughts to them are winging, when friends hold courage in their heart. How can I keep from singing? No storm can shake my inmost calm. What to that rock I'm clinging? Since I believe that love abides. How can I keep from singing?
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. Sound of me singing with you.
This is the sound of one voice. Is it good?
A little bit more.
A little bit more? Love. Love is the spirit of the service. Service is love. Love is the spirit of this congregation. Service is love. Good?
That's good. Thank you.
Glory. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind till it turns to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of the sound of one voice. One people, one voice. A song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Good morning, Cedar Lane. Shall I try that again? Good morning, Cedar Lane. How is everyone this morning? I am Mmamohau, Tswaedi, Narasimhan, and I'm your worship associate for this morning's service. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm wearing a black dress with white stripes and big glasses. As we gather for worship, let's take a moment to turn to our neighbors and greet them, offering a warm welcome, especially to our newcomers and guests.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am the Reverend Dayna Edwards. I know, it is so good to see everyone this morning. I want to chit-chat for days, too, so I totally get it. I'm like, oh, hey, friends. So good to see you all here this morning. I am the Reverend Dayna Edwards, and my pronouns are she and her. Is that better? Okay. And I am a white middle-aged woman with shoulder-length brown hair, and I'm wearing a rainbow stole with a heart on it on one side and a chalice on the other, a t-shirt that says humankind in various colors, and a black skirt with print. And we have even more greeting outside, and people are so happy to see each other. I'm so glad. Henry Sagrishi, come on in. Hi, Henry. Henry Sagrishi is our former music director from kind of pre-pandemic, and we're so glad that he's visiting. Oh, Director Emeritus? Oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry. So very beloved Emeritus Music Director, and we're so glad that he is here this morning with us and visiting this morning. Hi, Henry. And when he was side note, when he was here, I was the intern, so that's how much has changed, right? So it's so cool. So as we gather this morning, let us take a moment to pause and acknowledge that we are on the ancestral lands of the Nacotchtank Piscataway Kanoi people, and on the land where enslaved African people and their descendants toiled without choice or recompense. We honor their enduring presence, wisdom, and stewardship. We honor their stewardship to this land throughout the generations, past, present, and future. So welcome again to Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We gather as one congregation, online and in person, embracing a diversity of ages, beliefs, cultures, sexualities, genders, abilities, life circumstances, nationalities, and documentation statuses. We welcome everyone in the fullness of who you are, and we are so glad that each and every one of you are here this morning. And a heartfelt welcome to our newcomers and guests, whether you're joining us for the in-person or online today. If you're new or still feeling new, please raise your hand, or introduce yourself in the chat if you're online so we can acknowledge and greet you with a small token of appreciation. Let's give everybody a warm Cedar Lane welcome. After the service, we invite you to join us for fellowship and coffee in the lobby and the courtyard. And if you're interested,
The fellowship hall.
oh, in the fancy fellowship hall, yes. Where we will have an involvements fair, which we'll talk more about in a few minutes. And if you're interested in learning more about Unitarian Universalism or getting involved in our congregation, please do take a moment to fill out the newcomer form linked in the chat if you're online or in your little welcome that you just got. So, and if you want to stay updated on Cedar Lane news and events, sign up for our weekly e-newsletter on our website's homepage at cedarlane.org. And if you feel called to deepen your involvement and contribute to our mission, we invite you to consider taking the next step in your spiritual journey by becoming a member of Cedar Lane. Your presence enriches us, our community, and we welcome you with open hearts. And our caring ministry team serves as an extension of our ministry here at Cedar Lane. John Gubbings is here. Maybe? No, not here. Okay, Kathleen Holmay is here as a dedicated member of our caring ministry team and is available to support you in person this morning. In the Spirit we gather, in the Spirit we begin. May it be so.
We invite you here to find the peace of balance,
to find the blessing of restlessness,
to lead,
to follow,
to join in the dance,
to catch your breath,
to give generously.
to receive gratefully.
If you are steady and poised,
If you feel completely lost,
if you don't know what you feel,
this community has a place for you,
you matter.
and we love you.
In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we illuminate the chalice as a beacon of our faith and community whenever we gather. We welcome Cece and Linda to light the chalice. Please rise in body and or in spirit and join me in saying the words on the screen. Kindling our chalice brings warmth to our sanctuary, as does remembering that others share our principles and values. It brings hope to this sacred place, affirming the importance and power of the Spirit. It brings more love into our lives as we connect through space and time with all that is holy, calling us to be in service to life. We light this chalice, feeling the warmth, hope, and love of our religious community.
Please remain as you are to sing for all that is our life. The words are on screen and in your gray hymnal.
For me to
In Unitarian Universalist worship, announcements tend to be more than just updates. They're invitations to engage, celebrate, and support each other's journey, in many ways embodying our commitment to nurturing community, to exploring the eternal and building a more just world. At Cedar Lane, we are a vibrant community of lay volunteers, leaders, and staff, fostering relationships with and among ourselves and with our neighbors in Montgomery County. In that spirit, this morning we have a few announcements we'd like to draw special attention to.
Yes. I'm very excited to share with you that after service we will have an involvements fair, and we'll have an opportunity to explore the many ministry teams and activities at Cedar Lane. I think, where's Caroline? I think it was 25 different groups. Yeah, 25 different groups that you can get involved with here at Cedar Lane. So if you've been looking for a way to connect, to engage with the community, join us in the fellowship hall after service.
And please mark your calendars for next weekend, because we have lots going on. Next Saturday from 9 to 2, join us for a social justice visioning workshop facilitated by Deepa Iyer from the Building Movement Project, where together we will gather to explore how Cedar Lane as a congregation and each of us individually can be engaged in the work of social justice as a spiritual practice in our social change ecosystem.
I'm excited about that. We also have tomorrow, next Saturday, at noon to 4, the Cedar Laners will be at the 3rd annual Kensington Juneteenth Festival table at St. Paul's Park. And I hear you get a free t-shirt.
Yes, our new t-shirt.
Orange. Very
a
cool.
flaming orange.
Yes.
Which will ensure that everybody sees Cedar Laners. So please feel free to pick up one if you're able to join us.
Yes.
And then you can come back in the evening to Cedar Lane for our annual benefit concert featuring the Cedar Lane choirs and musicians. This benefit concert series was initiated by Dr. Henry Segrishi, our Director of Music Emeritus, and continues this tradition. And this year, this will support Live in Your Truth, which creates comprehensive linkages to wellness programs, affirming safe spaces, events, media, and opportunities for intersectional Black, LGBTQI, and BIPOC underserved communities throughout Montgomery County. It's going to be an awesome concert. So please join us for this amazing event to celebrate Pride and also to support this organization next Saturday at 7 p.m.
We also have our monthly diaper and cleaning supply drive to support Afghan families and the Gutierrez family next Sunday. I don't know if you've all tried to buy diapers recently, but they're crazy. I mean, they're so expensive. So, if you can support us in that, please bring diapers and cleaning supplies, and you can check the e-news for a full list of items.
And then next Sunday is our Pride Sunday service, and we have an amazing service with Reverend Ali and a local musician, Gabrielle Zui. And this is going to be a wonderful service next Sunday. And if you know someone between the ages of 16 and 20, how many of you do? All right. How many of you have neighbors or know strangers who are between 16 and 20? If you do, invite them to become a Cedar Lane Fellow. The Cedar Lane Fellows participate in Sunday morning events and activities. They gain valuable skills for future college applications and employment. They also receive mentorship and leadership training and a small scholarship. If you're interested to know more, please see Reverend Dayna, and she will fill you in on the details.
Yes. And I am so excited to tell everybody we have our summer programming lined up for our children and youth. We're going to have 6 weeks of guest speakers and engaging activities, and it's open to really all ages, but focus on children. And it'll start June 23rd, and it'll go through all of July. And it's going to be our summer of social justice. So all the programming is centered and focused on social justice. I'm so excited.
And these are social justice ministries that we are engaged in at Cedar Lane.
Right, and just in general, exciting things like we're going to have a juggling for social justice. We're going to have, racial justice, which obviously we're engaged in here at Cedar Lane, so Racial Justice Sunday. We're going to have the face paint lady come back and talk about the Chesapeake Bay. We're going to have an art activist come talk about the Poor People's Campaign and do a mural. And we are going to work with our food justice ministry team to make some food to bring to people. It's going to, and I forgot I think the best one. So we're going to have another encore performance of a drag queen story hour with Avita Peroxide.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds exciting, Reverend Dayna. And this is our summer programming that we offer in conjunction with our summer services, starting June 23rd.
Starting June 23rd. And if you want to sign up, or somebody who might want to sign up, just go to tinyurl.com/summer 2024.
And now let us move into the space for naming our joys and sorrows of our community and beyond.
Let us center ourselves in this moment, invoking the sources of love within, among, and around us. In this beloved community where we find connection, meaning, and solace, let us hold sacred space for one another, sharing each other's joy, embracing those present, and holding in our heart those absent today. As we gather together, we celebrate with Gretchen Karpusek and Mikojan Nikolic, who are delighted to share the news of the birth of their second grandchild, Ruari J. Nikolic, on June 4th. Proud parents Elise and Luke are overjoyed, and their firstborn, Harper, has been promoted to big sister. We are holding Usha Charya's granddaughter, Anjali, in our hearts and sending healing wishes as she recovers from cardiac surgery. We are deeply saddened by the recent Israeli attack on a school in Gaza, which tragically killed 45 children. We mourn the loss of these young lives and stand in solidarity with all those affected by this continued violence and injustice. We hold in our hearts all those who perish in the unprecedented violence across Gaza, Israel, Ukraine, Haiti, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Let us hold these joys and sorrows with tenderness and care, drawing strength from our connection and our shared commitment. As we enter into the silence together, those mourning a loss are invited to rise in body and or in spirit and speak their names into the silence. May we hold the silence as the silence holds us.
I invite you to remain in a space of contemplation and prayer as we pray together. Spirit of life and love, Spirit of all that is holy and sacred that moves within, among, and around us. Thank you for all the comforts and joy and wonderful things that we've received this week and beyond. Thank you for all the tender moments, the healing moments, and the moments of connection. Our heart is filled with gratitude for every time that we notice love is at the center. And help us this week to notice those moments more deeply, more intentionally. The moments that we move as though love is at the center. Help us notice the moments, the little times, the small comments that we receive from others that are evidence that love is at the center. And for those who are experiencing heartache, pain, war, suffering, disease, let us send that love to them. Help them to know that our hearts are filled with love for them. And if we are suffering, help us to find a place where love is at the center for us. Let us hold that love throughout our week and share it with whoever needs sharing. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
Every week in worship, we give and receive an offering. It's good to remind ourselves that our offering is both symbolic and practical. While our pledges of financial support help us build our budget and fund our many ministries and programs and pay the staff and upkeep this beautiful campus, The act of passing the plate during worship is a community expression of gratitude for the blessing of abundance. It is a visible act of bringing in the harvest at this cherished hour. So our free will offering signifies that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday morning. And it's an opportunity not only to witness to our commitment to our mission and ministry, but also to our support to a community organization or cause. And so today we are honored to share the plate with Scotland Juneteenth Festival, which is focused on their rebuilding fund at the Scotland AME Zion Church, which is what the annual Scotland, this is the third annual Scotland Community Heritage Festival is focused on. All the proceeds from this festival will benefit the Second Century Project, which is a capital campaign that was launched in 2022 to repair and expand the historic Scotland AME Zion Church. This church, built by hand by congregants from 1915 to 1924, was severely damaged by a flood in the summer of 2019. The Scotland community in Potomac, Maryland, is the first African American owned land in Montgomery County. Formed by formerly enslaved people, the Scotland community has faced a history of discrimination and segregation within the predominantly wealthy and white area of Potomac. In the mid-1960s, our UU siblings at River Road and Cedar Lane members joined with the Scotland community to raise public awareness and fight against development threats. And these efforts led to the creation of a 100-townhouse development and the establishment of self-governance. So it is this cause that we are supporting today, which you can give online or by text or mailing a check or placing your very generous gift in the offering plate. We're grateful for your generous support, and as the ushers come forward to give and receive the offering, it will now be gratefully given and received.
Volunteers are the lifeblood of our congregation. Nearly every day, our community benefits from the gifts of time, energy, and expertise that our members and friends bring to the table. Today, we want to lift up our many volunteers and express our heartfelt thanks.
Cedar Lane is blessed with many volunteers who give their time and talent every day, all year, to support our vision and mission, embodying shared ministry. In just a moment, Dayna and I will name different volunteer roles with Carolyn within our congregation, and we will ask you to rise, raise your hand, or post in the chat, or if you feel moved, do some dance. If you have volunteered in any particular role this year, and we're going to wait till the end to really applaud, cheer, and thank all of our volunteers.
Yes, so let's get started. Ready? Is everybody ready? Yeah? Yay, yeah. So first we'd like to thank those who help out on Sunday mornings. If you've done one of these Sunday morning volunteer jobs, please rise or raise your hand and remain standing, or if you're online, post what you did in the chat. Ushers, rise if you're an usher, or they're probably counting money. Yeah, any other? Oh yes, we got some ushers, there you go.
I see some ushers who serve during the year who are not rising unless I want me to call you out.
I see some raised hands, yep. Some greeters, remain standing.
Jack and Judy
please.
Rogers.
Yeah. Coffee servers, please rise and remain standing. Welcome table volunteers, please rise and remain standing, or you can raise your hand if that's more comfortable, or you can post in the chat, and I hope you all are doing that. Flower team members, rise. Oh, I see some flower team members, yes. Worship associates, caring team members, and yes, and I see people have multiple roles already. And any other person who volunteers or helps on Sunday morning.
We'd also like to thank those who engage in faith formation, religious education for children, youth, and adults. Volunteers, please rise and remain standing. Raise your hand or post in the chat.
If you volunteer with children, youth, and the Soul Circles as a Soul Circles facilitator.
They're downstairs.
Yeah, they're off already, actually.
Oh.
You're up next.
Me? Oh, me. Look at that. And let us thank those who have offered their musical gifts. Choir members, including children, youth and adults, bell choir, and special musicians. Yep. Raising your hands, okay? Yes. And you can post in the chat.
Now, some of our volunteer roles are easy to see, but some are quieter and behind the scenes, and we have several teams that serve in those quiet ways. And invite those to rise now, our office volunteers, members of our AV team who are, as usual, behind, and social media volunteers. If you are here, please rise, remain standing, raise your hand, or post in the chat.
We have many wonderful ministry teams in our congregation. If you are the leader of one of these teams, please rise and remain standing, raise your hand, or post in the chat. If you're a member of one of those teams, please do the same. I see you.
And social justice is an important ministry at Cedar Lane. Let us recognize those who lead our social justice ministry teams. Especially, I want to take a moment to recognize Diane Seifert, who has been leading our immigrant justice ministry team for many years and is now retiring from that role. And our environmental justice, racial justice, gender justice, food ministry, the 8th Principle Embodiment Group, and action in Montgomery. If you're around here or online, please rise and remain standing or post in the chat.
And another very important lay ministry, if you're a member of a board committee, that'd be the Financial Policy Committee, the Endowment, Human Resources, Governance, Fundraising Development, the Special Initiatives Fund Committee, or a member of a board task force, like the Construction Task Force. Please rise and remain standing, or raise your hand, or post what you did in the chat.
And if you led or were a member of the generosity team and helped out at our annual fund campaign, including that awesome celebration Sunday we had in March, please rise and remain standing. And if you were a member of our Elevate Our Vision campaign last fall that raised much needed funds for our construction, please rise. And then we had a few other special fundraising events.
We sure did. Like our special spring, well, not special, we do it every year, but our spring auction celebration. So please rise, even if you did something really little for the auction. Yes.
And if you're already rising, stand up on the chair.
Right? Yes, please don't. And we have all of our other very cool special events like our jewelry sales, our holiday craft day fair, Halloween trunk or treat, Easter egg hunt. So if you participated or volunteered in our Easter egg hunt and our holy colors, please rise and remain standing, or raise your hand, or post what you did in the chat.
We'd also like to thank those volunteers who have coordinated groups and programs like the Alliance, Science and Religion, Kiplinger Lecture, Men's Group, Bridge Social Circles, Grief Support, and others. Please rise and remain standing or post in the chat.
And if you served in other one-time or occasional volunteer positions, like our campus cleanup days, our Rock Creek cleanup, or other activities and programs, or if we missed you, please rise and remain standing or post what you did in the chat, please.
And last but not least, we would like to thank our devoted board members, as well as our nominating and leadership development committee members, who serve as our highest lay leadership. If you're present here today, please rise or raise your hand or post in the chat. So, I just want us to take a moment to look around, just to get a sense of what it takes to make Cedar Lane happen. I know some of you have been standing forever now, but this is what it takes to make this religious community be the vibrant community that it is. And so let us now join together and say, thank you, hooray!
Thank you.
Thank you all, Cedar Lane volunteers, and thank you, Carolyn, as our volunteer coordinator as well. Thank you for all that you give. Yes. Thank you for sharing your time, your good ideas, and your expertise. We wholeheartedly appreciate it.
Amen. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
lights are blinding. I can't hear with the children crying. I can't think with the anger flying. I can't breathe with my renters dying. And I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am writing your name in the air. Can you see me? Can you see me? I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? You've been waiting, I can tell from your steps in the hall. You've been silent, keeping watch as the world's unwinding. You are standing in isolation. You have shut down communication. You are leading your own migration. And I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am stretching my arms to the sky. Can you reach me? Can you reach me? I am reaching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? If you'll be my walls, if you'll be my roof, if you'll keep me safe, I will give you I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am searching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am lost at the end of the world. Can you find me? Can you find me? I am reaching for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am praying for sanctuary. Will you shelter me? Will you shelter me? I am praying for sanctuary. Will you shelter
Thank you, members of the choir, Jasmine and Libby, for that awesome piece. Wow. Wow. And that's just a taste of what you will be hearing at the benefit concert. Wow. So we gather here today to celebrate and explore the vital tradition of volunteerism within our faith community. Our congregation, like many others, thrives not just on spiritual nourishment we receive, but on the active participation of its many members and friends. Cedar Lane is truly blessed to be rich in what is called human resource capital. As we saw, many come forward each year, collaborating with each other and the staff, creating wonderful networks of connection, strengthening the bonds of our community, and embodying shared ministry. It really does take each of us and all of us to do the work of this religious community, and through that, live out our mission. And our collective efforts, large and small, create and sustain a sanctuary of support, belonging, and shared purpose. But the question is, why is all this necessary to do this work? Especially in a faith tradition and a religious community that really does not promise pie in the sky to the faithful. I mean, if you don't volunteer, you're not going to go to hell in a UU faith, I mean. And belonging to a UU community like Cedar Lane, really does not, in one way or another, determine our eternal salvation. But it does help us investigate and exercise our capacity to serve, grounding us in a purpose larger than ourselves. So volunteerism is a shared spiritual practice that is rooted in the theological concept of what theologian James Luther Adams called the priesthood and prophethood of all believers. This concept, which is central to our faith, asserts that all people, all members and friends, are called to contribute to the mission and ministry of this religious community, its worship, governance, and the many ministries, ensuring that a shared ministry happens where every voice is valued and heard. And it's not just about a contribution, it is actually a way to live into a deeper commitment. Oh, I can't resist. I know many of you have heard variation of this particular joke over the years, but please indulge me. Yes, Henry's laughing. He knows where exactly I'm going with it. A chicken and a pig. It's you, Henry. I couldn't resist when I saw you. I just said, thank you. So a chicken and a pig were, kind of walking together along Cedar Lane one day. And then they happened to see a sign up front where it said we were having this wonderful cookout. And included in it were lots of vegan options, but it also had an indication that we would also have bacon and eggs, breakfast. So the chicken looked at the pig and said, "Aren't you glad that these UUs on Cedar Lane are actually gathering, and in that we have an opportunity to play a role in supporting their efforts?" To which the pig turned to the chicken and said, "Chicken, it's easy for you to say because it's a contribution for you, and for me, it's total commitment." So, I don't know why I said that joke. It has no bearing to what I'm going to say. It just came out. But going back, this concept of volunteerism also ties into the spirit of volunteerism in the U.S., which is a unique tradition where individuals are encouraged to actively contribute to their communities, embodying the principles of both their faith and their civic responsibilities. In his essay, Democracy in America, in 1835, Alexis de Tocqueville observed this unique propensity of Americans to form voluntary associations for various purposes, which he saw as a distinctive feature of American democracy. And this American spirit of volunteerism was driven by a combination of individual initiative and a commitment to community well-being and the common good, which is what sociologist Robert Bellah characterized as habits of the heart in his influential work, Habits of the Heart, Individualism and Commitment in American Life in 1985. So religious communities, like any other service organizations, have been a part of this long tradition. And they require a certain number of paid professional staff to be effective and to function. But without an ongoing, dependable investment of time, energy, and substance from its members, organizations like Cedar Lane would be nothing more than an empty, beautiful building. And since its founding in 1951, Cedar Lane has been so blessed to be rich with that level of commitment and service. Over decades, people have come forward to collaborate with each other and the staff, creating these wonderful networks of connection and embodying shared ministry here. However, in recent decades, this culture of volunteerism, not just at Cedar Lane, but in the United States, has been experiencing a gradual decline. A trend notably documented by Robert Putnam in his seminal work, Bowling Alone, The Collapse and Revival of American Community, that came out in 2000. In his book, Putnam illustrates a significant reduction in civic engagement and community participation, attributing this decline to factors such as increased suburbanization, the rise of digital media, and the fragmentation of social networks. And these have led to fewer opportunities for face-to-face interactions and a weakening of the social bonds that traditionally fostered a strong volunteer spirit. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic further exacerbated this decline, accelerating trends of social isolation and further weakening community bonds. My colleague, Reverend Jen Cross, who serves as the senior minister of First Unitarian Universalist Church of Minneapolis, shared insights from a seminar that she attended titled Exploring the Pandemic's Impact on Congregations, which was part of a larger project funded by the Lilly Endowment to track the impact of COVID-19 on religious life in the U.S. The study included about 530 Unitarian Universalist congregations, and they found that many increased demands are now faced with fewer volunteers. They found that regular volunteer participation dropped from 44% to 15%. And staffing reductions were reported by 15% of congregations. Financial viability was found at risk for 30% of congregations, with 19% fearing for their continued existence. The pandemic also has been a catalyst for change leading for the creation of virtual spaces for worship and community, creative building usage, new relationships with technology, and new interfaith and community partnerships. This is just a snapshot of what we are now faced with, and we are very much a part of this trend. We're not outside of it, even though I have to say we are blessed with so much more than what some of the other congregations and faith communities face, including those that have now had to close their doors. At the same time, we also need to recognize the growing challenge of decreased volunteerism, which hasn't worked for some time now. We have been trying to recruit people to serve at Cedar Lane, sometimes without clearly defining what the roles are, what the expectations are, or what the work is, and have sometimes subjected people to too many meetings that have little to do with ministry or mission. I mean, how many of you woke up this Sunday morning and felt there's something missing in my life, and then realized that it was because you were not serving on a committee? All right, Sandy. Let's sign Sandy up for some of those teams. But that's really the case. When we look at this as church work and basically look at tasks that need to be done, and therefore look for warm bodies that in turn can be asked to do that work, rather than look at it as the work of the church, something that is calling us to be more deeply engaged because it has meaning, purpose, and the opportunity for us to grow deeper and wider as a community, we are going to be faced with challenges of finding people who want to say yes. So how do we go about being more clear in articulating our mission and also the opportunities to serve our mission? Well, first of all, we need to center ourselves to clearly understand what our mission is. And then we need to offer opportunities that help people approach this as a way to grow in their faith as Unitarian Universalists. We need to offer more flexible and diverse opportunities, including virtual options to accommodate varying capacities and interests. We need to provide necessary training and ongoing support to equip our volunteers. We need to recognize and celebrate contributions regularly, not just annually, sharing success stories to inspire others. We need to address barriers to participation by understanding and mitigating obstacles such as time constraints and accessibility issues. And we must continue to foster a culture of volunteerism by having our leaders model active participation and embedding volunteerism into the fabric of congregational life. Which is what, after service today, you will encounter ways in which you can participate through the volunteer engagement or involvement fair. And so I hope you approach that not as a list of tasks we all have that we're looking to recruit all of you. And thank you for showing up today, by the way. There have been Sundays when we have done volunteer engagement fairs and people have sat that Sunday out. Yes, but I hope we will approach it differently. The point is, the state of church or religious community is always this: the world has moved, and we must be a part of it. And this congregation, Cedar Lane, doesn't just have a past, we also have a future. We were planted here for a reason. Now, more than almost 75 years ago, and that reason was to flourish, not to survive, to flourish. And we are called to flourish by living out our passion, living out our mission. And in that way, that calling hasn't changed. It is just that we have to figure out how we live it in today's world. Not in the 1980s, not in the 1990s, not even in the 2000s, but in today's world, in 2024. And we do not simply belong to this congregation. We are the congregation. You are the congregation. We are not the congregation. We are here to serve the congregation. We would love to be a part of the congregation, but we would have to resign our positions to be a part of you. And that is an important distinction. We are so privileged to be invited by you to companion you on your life journeys, to be invited into such intimate, ultimate moments of your lives. Us, relative strangers, being invited in. What a blessing it is. But it does have a limited shelf life. Carbon dating, We come and go. Even called ministries are long interims. We eventually leave. But you stay. You stay because this is your spiritual home. And you stay because this is so meaningful and valuable for you that not only do you feel connected to this place, but you want this place to be that for all the thousands and thousands of others who are yet to find us. And that's why we exist. And I hope we can continue to hold that, lift that up. Sometimes the fog of church work can get in the way. It's good to step back and take a closer look at it and reclaim it. And this renewed spirit we are witnessing as we have moved back into our renewed space, it presents us with an opportunity to renew the task of being a religious community, which is to spend our lifetimes intentionally and compassionately developing a shared ministry of depth and width. Philip Larkin, and I'll close with this, an English poet, on a day out in spring in the English countryside, biking, visited an old church. And in this poem, he reflects on the inevitability of change. And this poem is called Church Going. And this was possibly an old, soon-to-be abandoned church. And sitting there, he muses on the role of such sacred spaces in modern life. I love this poem because it captures the tension between the historical reverence for these buildings and their uncertain futures. He writes, "Once I am sure there's nothing going on. I step inside, letting the door thud shut. Another church, matting, seats, and stone, and little books, sprawlings of flowers cut for Sunday, brownish now, some brass and stuff up at the holy end, the small, neat organ, and a tense, musty, unignorable silence between God knows how long. Hatless, I take off my cycle clips in awkward reverence, move forward, run my hand around the font, and from where I stand, the roof looks almost new. Cleaned or restored? Someone would know. I don't. Mounting the lectern, I peruse a few hectoring large-scale verses and pronounce, "Here endeth," much more loudly than I meant. The echoes snigger briefly. Back at the door, I sign the book. Donate an Irish sixpence. Reflect the place was not worth stopping for. Yet stop I did. In fact, I often do, and always end much at a loss like this, wondering what to look for, wondering too, when churches fall completely out of use, what we shall turn them into. If we shall keep a few cathedrals chronically on show, their parchment, plate, and picks in locked cases, and let the rest rent free to rain and sheep. Shall we avoid them as unlucky places? Power of some sort or other will go on, but superstition, like belief, must die. And what remains when disbelief has gone? Grass, weedy pavement, brambles, buttress, sky. I wonder who will be the last, the very last, to seek this place for what it was. It pleases me to stand in silence here. A serious house on serious earth it is, in whose blent air all our compulsions meet, and recognized and robed as destinies, and that much never can be obsolete, since someone will forever be surprising, a hunger in themselves to be more serious, and gravitating with it to this ground, which they once heard was proper to grow wise in. This contemplation mirrors my love for old churches, those still vibrant and those fading, and new ones like this one. I cherish that people gather in these spaces week after week, engaging in the rhythms and disciplines of religious life, which are both beautiful and ever-changing. And I'm curious about the future of our religious communities and what they will become, shaped by the needs and dreams of the next generations. This congregation is a laughing, loving, lively house, a beautiful and messy house, a serious house on serious earth, proper to grow wise in, proper to grow kind in, grow brave, grow still, grow deep, grow strong, grow loud. So in this spirit, friends, I call upon each of us to recommit to service, to being the prophets and the priests of all believers, to find our place in this community of reflection and action, and really help rebuild a future where volunteerism remains a cornerstone of our shared faith and mission. Let us continue to work toward being a place where each person is welcomed as their whole, imperfect, authentic selves, where each person is encouraged and equipped to connect their gifts with this congregation's united purpose, where we discover together the place where the world's deep hunger meets our heart's deep gladness, and where together we grow our souls so that we might serve this broken yet beautiful world in love. And to that I say, Amen. Please rise in body and or in spirit to sing "Wake Now My Senses." The words are on screen and in the gray hymnal. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the
Wake
These words are affixed at the Unitarian Church in Scarborough, UK. This is my church. It is composed of people like me. We make it what it is. I want it to be a church that is a lamp to the path of pilgrims, leading them to goodness, truth, and beauty. It will be if I am. It will make generous gifts to many causes if I am a generous giver. It will bring other people into its worship and community if I bring them. It will be friendly if I am. It will be a church of loyalty and love, of fearlessness and faith, if I, who make it what it is, am filled with these. Therefore, I shall dedicate myself to the task of being all these things I want my church to be. May it be so. Blessed be. Please be seated for the postlude.